Hi there, everyone. I'm going to be cliche and start this off with a quote, because I like quotes, and I don't really know what I'm doing otherwise. So, quote. It just occurred to me that many people in this world are actually afraid to heal, because their entire identity is centered around the trauma they've experienced. They have no idea who they are outside of that trauma, and that unknown can be absolutely terrifying. End quote. Google tells me that this is from Ebony Davis. My apologies if it's incorrect. So, I guess I'm finally recording this thing. Wow. I wonder what the determining motivational factor was that prompted me to actually take action after all these months of, we'll call it planning? No. Healing. But don't be fooled. I'm still healing. Maybe I genuinely just want to relate to and help people. Maybe I needed a place to vent and express myself that wasn't as private as a journal and more efficient than painting or sketching like I used to, and still do sometimes. Maybe I'm curious to see if this too will blow up in my face, or rather that it will be a face-slapping success. That's the part that scares me. Maybe I finally got so fed up with the bullshit that I was allowing into and creating for my life that I just had to say enough is enough and move in a new direction for my own sake. Or maybe it's only when things get so dark around and inside of you that you have no other choice than to figure out how to turn your light on within. The only thing I know that's certain is that I am freaking terrified to release this or any subsequent episodes because I've never authentically loved myself in public before. Too late now, I guess. Hello and welcome to the Thriving Through Trauma podcast. This podcast is an in-depth journey into one individual's trauma-focused psychotherapy sessions, her take-home messages, and later neurological analysis of what was physically and chemically happening to her brain through her healing process. I, Katie Tugis, promise to lovingly walk you through my dark night of the soul so that you can better understand your own pain and healing journey. Has your mental health suddenly began to suffer while your happiness or inner peace seems to just keep slipping through your fingers? Know now that you are not alone in this experience. I've created this audio journal for myself so that you can learn from my practice and thereby decrease your own recovery time and understanding of this whole process. My mission is to help you realize your missing or weakened power has been right there, on the other side of your pain and darkness all along. So without further ado, let this venture begin. Firstly, hello listeners, I'm Katie, and this is my podcast, Thriving Through Trauma, using pain to reclaim your power. What a happy accident that you've stumbled onto my new personal project. I'm genuinely super grateful that you have chosen to give me a chance. Thank you. I would like to tell you that all my episodes won't start out as existentially questioning as this one did, but that would be making false promises to both you and myself, which it isn't fair to either of us. It's almost like I am constantly experiencing an existential crisis. Perhaps you are too, and that's why you're listening to my voice. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still in the middle of my healing journey, and because of that, this project may have a rather messy start and then simply just remain messy. I'm not really too sure, but however it turns out, it will be beautiful. There is much I have already worked through in regards to my trauma, my past, life experience, childhood wounds, whatever you want to call it really. But there is still much more that I am working towards integrating and grounding within myself. So we'll see what happens. And let's be honest, you must have had some idea that this wouldn't be all sunshine and rainbows, puppies and kittens. I mean, it's in the title. Trauma. So you're here listening to my voice because you've been through, are in, or have transcended some sort of traumatic experience in your life. Or perhaps you're one of the lucky few who haven't, and you're just curious, bored, or listening for some other personal or perhaps educational reason. I'm not here to psychoanalyze you, so whatever brought you here, I'm glad to be in your ear regardless. While we're being honest, I have no idea what you should expect from this podcast in terms of feeling, content, anything, really. Chances are you will experience a variety of emotion, and certainly not all of them will make you feel great. However, I do hope to help you see the light in all experiences and emotion that does arise, and the potential purpose of it all, so that you can thrive and live a healthy life. Either way, if either of us have expectations of what this project will become, then I'm sure we'll all be disappointed. Alas, I digress. I did post a video back in August explaining what my purpose for this podcast was, but then a slight hiccup occurred and I had to rebrand and rename all previous efforts and start from scratch. So this episode will be a reiteration of that video that has since been taken down so that new listeners can understand why this exists in the first place, and my returning audience can hear it again. Repetition is key after all, because maybe there's something you heard the first time that didn't or won't resonate with you until later, and regardless, you can't look at it anyway because it has been deleted. Either way, I'm telling all of you now that you may not be comfortable with how raw, authentic, and vulnerable I will be with this project. Some of the topics I discuss may trigger you, or myself for that matter. Good. Let them do that, and let's allow ourselves to be triggered, for it's when we're triggered that we may discover areas of our psyche that need our attention, love, and light in order to transcend and heal. It's only when we resist that trigger, rather than embracing it for what it is and then letting it go, that it will persist. I think that goes for most things, though. Personally, I find that the only things that actually matter in this world are those that have come out of pain and trauma, whether it be personal or global. The depth at which we can love one another is also reflective of our pain and trauma as individuals and as a collective. Music, poetry, art, scientific innovation, philosophy, this podcast, it's all wonderful, and so much of it has come out of the desire to improve situations and feelings for all of us. Okay, guys. This podcast will be a nice little soup of personal accounts and insights from my own psychotherapy sessions as I work to heal my complex PTSD, eventual neuroscientific detail and explanation regarding the healing process of CPTSD and other dissociative disorders, eventually some interviews with other individuals who have transformed their own trauma into thriving or triumph, whatever success is for them, and a variety of other ingredients just to spice things up every once in a while. Those ingredients range from various scientific and quantum theories to belief systems to complete nonsense. As with our healing process, we have an unpredictable road of exploration ahead, so I hope you are ready. This podcast has a few different purposes. Firstly, it's to be an activity for myself that allows me to maintain presence in the moment and attain calmness within by providing me an outlet to get in deeper touch with myself. This way, I can improve my recollection of the occurrences in my life because I had been finding that I was losing moments, days, sometimes weeks at a time before I started documenting my thoughts. Second, it's for you, obviously, whomever may be listening, to help awaken you to what might need to heal within yourself, along with provide you the courage to get the help that you know you need deep down, whether that help is sought after through psychotherapy, close friends and family, listening to podcasts, or any other modality in combination with your own inner reflection. I want you to know that you're not alone even though it might feel like it at times. Countless other human beings have been exactly where you and I are, wherever that may be. Today we keep trying to suppress and eradicate suffering, but in that attempt we are also losing so much of the experiences that make us who we are. This leads to miscommunication between each other, misunderstanding of ourselves and others, and misexpression of self-love or a misguided sense of self-worth. The fact of the matter is that as a collective, we live in a three-dimensional reality of suffering and duality. Now, remember what I said about resistance and persistence? That same concept applies to our collective reality and your suffering as a human being. It is impossible to shut off completely. So what can we do? If we can't eradicate our pain, how are we ever supposed to heal ourselves, and by consequence, this planet? From my experience, taking personal responsibility for what your life has been is and will be the first step. Now, before you say, "But Katie, how is what happened to me in my past my fault? I didn't ask for what happened to happen. You're stupid. This is stupid. I'm turning this off. You can't possibly understand what I've been through." You are 100% correct. What other people did or didn't do to you says so much more about them and their wounds than it will ever say about you. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. All the pain that we've experienced is ours to own, and all feelings you have experienced from that pain and trauma are completely valid. It is impossible for us to change the past, but what we do have the power to change is the meaning that we have given it, along with what we choose to do with those past experiences. Okay, so what do I mean? Basically, suppressing or trying to eliminate your emotional pain will not serve you. Because, like I said before my intro began, maybe it's only when things get so dark around and inside of you that you have no other choice than to figure out how to turn your light on within. With regard to trauma, when you're experiencing pain in the present from a past event, all you're doing is recalling and remembering the existent emotion that occurred when that situation was happening. In the present moment, what happened to you in the past is not happening to you again. But that memory of it triggers your emotional response. Your prefrontal cortex essentially shuts down, which includes your critical thinking and any logic whatsoever. When this happens, allow yourself to take a step back. Remove yourself from the situation and go within. In order to move forward, it is important that you connect to that pain and feel it fully. At that point, you can identify the meaning you gave it, and you can give it a new meaning. Now that you have a new perspective of that situation, you can finally let it go. When this happens, the memory no longer brings up those negative feelings that were once associated with it, and once you're no longer triggered by that memory, or that memory no longer affects you, that's how you know you've healed. I'll go deeper into this concept in a future episode, but for this introduction, we'll keep things basic. For now, the idea that I'm trying to express is that once you tap into your pain and integrate it fully into yourself, then, and only then, will you be motivated to actually do something with your life. Hiding from yourself and your past will not serve you in the long term. The emotions that you experience throughout the day are messages from yourself about what's working and what isn't within your daily life and thought processes. You must observe and respond to them instead of reacting to them, and the first step in this is simply becoming aware that you're being triggered and becoming aware of what you're experiencing. Once you've started taking responsibility for your life and your feelings or reactions, you can start taking your power back. The next vital step in your healing journey is being gentle with yourself. Start by treating yourself like a friend and try to help yourself understand the emotions that you're feeling in a particular moment. A true friend would tell you that everything is going to be all right, that they love you, and it isn't your fault for feeling the way that you do. Forgive yourself for your negative self-talk when you're feeling particularly down, and remind yourself how much you are loved. I know your inner self is probably screaming at you as I said those words, how much you're loved. Screaming at you that what I'm telling you to do is impossible. I don't love myself. No one loves me. If there was love, I wouldn't feel this horrible. Believe me, I've done and still do this to myself on occasion. It is a result of the trauma and pain that we've experienced. But the fact that you're still listening to me speak right now means the exact opposite. Why? Because someone who truly doesn't love you, a true enemy, would simply allow you to burn and would actually enjoy watching you suffer. You still listening to me tells me that there must be love for yourself somewhere. It might just be a little misguided. I'll explore this concept in a future episode as well, as this misguided self-love is an episode all on its own. Anyway, you guys, we are all in this world together, all different parts of this epic human story, all individual powerhouses from different cultures that are just trying to find peace. Suffering is part of the human experience, and we can't keep pitying those who have suffered or ourselves for suffering. Why? Well, because once you connect to and understand your individual suffering, then you can transform it into your individual power. When we pity each other or ourselves, we literally take that power away. We have been indoctrinated to believe that it's impossible or not okay to be happy while you also have pain inside of you. Thereby, we are under this impression and illusion that something must be wrong with us if we've been through something traumatic, but can still find moments of joy throughout the day. I'm here to tell you that the more you focus on those joyful moments and those moments of love, the easier it is for the pain that you've experienced to be transformed into something beautiful and wonderful, just like you on a soul level. As a society, we need to stop teaching people who have experienced pain that it's okay to live a bleak life just because their circumstance does not fit society's ideal or normal outline. Your resilience and ability to choose love over fear or hate is your beauty and your humanity. Quantum physics and chemistry have shown us that everything is energy, and it is only what the observer expects to see that is observed. So, my question for you to ponder before the next episode is this. What have you been creating and expecting for yourself since the first time you got hurt? And what would you rather create for yourself moving forward? I think it's about damn time that we all leverage our pain for change that is bigger than us. Sure, cruelty will still exist as we start this journey together. It's not going to change overnight. We need only remind ourselves that those cruel people are coming from a place of deep wounding. And those people, some of us may even recognize ourselves as part of this group, or our past selves as part of this group, will not stop bigger change from happening. However, they can stop people whom are trying to heal from seeking help. So I implore you, join me in healing and seeking our own help so that we can channel our individual purposes for this bigger change that we so desperately want to see in our world. So that's all I got for you today. Until next time, just remember, we are one. You're not alone. Katie out. Thank you for listening to the Thriving Through Trauma podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated and obviously helps my engagement. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Thriving Through Trauma Podcast and at Thriving Through Trauma, handles respectively. Sending you love and light. Peace out from yours truly, Katie Tugas.